Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Mark Duplas.
I'm Fuego here.
Back with another movie review, and this is one that's been sort of a long time coming because both Fuego and I watched it right when it came out. Marcia not long after that. This is just the first opportunity we've had together to watch it. Welcome back, Marcia.
We needed Marcia back.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about Creep 2. Which I believe Marcia and I did the review on the first Creep during a podcast at one point.
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we enjoyed it at the time, and so we were all excited to watch the second movie, and we're going to do this review like we normally do. We'll talk about our overall thoughts, the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn. I am going to say I really loved this movie way more than the first movie up until the very, very, very end.
No!
I loved the movie other than that. So, I was really happy with the direction he took. I was super surprised with the direction he took. And that's what sort of laid the groundwork for me to enjoy it as much as I did. Marcia?
I really enjoyed it. I like the first one better, personally. But I thought it was different. I wasn't expecting, because I didn't read up on it or anything. I wanted it to just be an experience much like I did the first time I watched it. So I was kind of taken aback. I'm like, okay, this is an interesting angle that they're going with, and let's see how far this goes. And it was well done, but I still like the first one. I think maybe it was just because the first one was just so unexpected that it won my heart. But yeah, that's my overall thought.
Awesome. Yeah, this one was similarly unexpected for me because of the fact that I didn't think they were gonna do what they did with it, and so for that reason I was pleasantly surprised. And they kind of left all illusions aside in this, and for that reason I liked it a whole lot more than the first one, which was more so a guessing game. This one, the groundwork was kind of laid out, and for that reason I thought it was funnier. I thought it was I thought the acting was better, and I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, overall impressions, I liked it better than the first one.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm different. I'm Jaime.
So the story of this one, you guys, if you haven't seen the first one, there are going to be slight spoilers in this, not for this movie, but for the first one. So basically, God, what is the guy's name? I'm spacing it now.
I'm spacing it too.
Oh no, Mark
The
Duplas.
actor is
Mark
Mark
Duplas.
Duplas. I thought you were talking about that.
No. So Mark Duplas plays this creepy character, and in the first movie, he puts out a sort of classified ad for a videographer who he wanted to make a movie with. And the videographer shows up. Mark Duplas plays this really strange character, and by the end of the movie ends up killing the videographer.
Yeah.
And so you're like, what the hell? And then there's a Creep 2 coming out, and you're like, okay, how's this going to work? You know, how is it going to raise the stakes? Is it going to be the same thing over again, but done slightly different? And that's where my enjoyment for this really began.
The opening?
Yeah, well, no, not the opening.
The opening was good, though.
I like
the opening was
the
good.
opening,
I like the
Are
opening.
you talking about the girl in her YouTube show, that kind of thing?
No.
Or right before that?
His opening.
With his
At the
friend.
beginning,
Oh,
His
right.
opening.
Yeah, his opening.
His opening.
I was like, okay, appropriately creepazoid, sure. I actually liked the YouTube opening more because it was, I felt a kinship to this woman.
Yeah.
So our main character
That makes
for
sense.
this is a female YouTuber who is trying to start a YouTube show that is all about sort of investigating the weirdness of Craigslist, where she'll take a single episode, identify a weird, personal ad, go and do this stuff, interview the person, and put it up as an episode.
Essentially putting her life in danger.
Exactly. And so she's about to film her season finale, and she's very unhappy with her show because she doesn't think she's actually taken any risks.
No, and nobody's watching.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not trending for shizzle.
So she runs across another ad for a guy asking for a videographer looking to make a film, and she goes, and it's Mark Duplas, and this is where I really got on board, where he sits her down, and I'm thinking it's going to be just like the first one, where he's just like, we're going to make a movie, blah, 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 it's going to be this, and that, and he literally says in this movie, and it's not a spoiler because it's the setup for the film.
It's in the trailer.
He literally says, well, I'm a serial killer. I've killed this many people, and I've reached sort of a midlife crisis, you might call it, where, I just don't know what I want to do, and I want to make a film about it. I'm not passionate anymore. It's like, I promise I won't kill you in the next 48 hours when we do this,
Here, have
and
some
stuff
green
like that.
drink.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm like blown away when he's doing this. I'm like, thank God the movie had the balls to do this.
Yeah.
You know, because if it was just a rehash of the first one where it's just another filmmaker that he's duping, like, this time he's extraordinarily upfront being like, no, I'm a killer. And if you stay, you know, you can leave now. I'll pay you your money, you can leave now and you'll get away. It's fine. I won't come after you. He's like, but if you want to stay and do this project, and she, of course, and it's fitting. What I loved about this movie is that people hate movies like this because they feel like their protagonist is making dumb decisions. Mm-hmm. What I liked was this movie acknowledged all of those dumb decisions where she literally goes into a bathroom and talks in the cameras like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't believe that he's actually done these things that he says.
She was rationalizing everything
and
along
it's
the way.
what she's been waiting for.
Exactly.
This is what her show's about, so she had to do it, even though she knew it's a danger.
Is this my big break? Like,
even though she wasn't totally convinced there was danger, but there's got to be a part of you, especially as a woman, that's like.
But that
that's
made
why
it
I have a knife in my pocket.
It made it a stronger film for me that they acknowledged what these things that the viewer is definitely going to be thinking, like, why are you staying? He just told you you're a serial killer. And she's like, I just don't believe him.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's why you're staying. Like, I liked that they addressed that stuff. Like, that was really cool.
He's not a serial killer. He's just crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
That she justified it. And
Pick
then she
your
also
poison?
said, like, I'm strapped. You know, not strapped, but she's got a knife. She has ways to protect herself if things go wrong. So
Exactly.
it just all that.
So we won't spoil what happens with the rest of the movie, but that's the setup. And I mean, that's a hell of a setup. That's why I was engaged and engrossed the entire time. And there are plenty of, you know, scenes that kind of call back to the first, where there's the weirdness of him versus the weirdness of the, or versus the filmmaker trying to keep up with his weirdness and things like that.
And she's like antagonizing him. And, and egging him on and trying to push him to the next level.
She took a very different approach.
Yeah.
Than the last direction.
Well, and it made it more interesting to me. I thought made it a much better film. So let's talk about the acting. I dug the acting. I mean, it's two actors essentially pretty much the whole time. Yeah. And it was super strong. It was held together, and I dug it. What about you guys?
I thought, obviously, Mark Duplas is just amazing. I love him in everything that he does. He's a very talented actor. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the girl as much. I still don't really recognize or know her name. Sorry. Mm-hmm. But she did an amazing job. I thought she was very convincing. She played her role to the T. And to be like opposite of Mark and be able to hold your own, that says a lot about her as an actress, and I hope that she gets a lot more work from this.
That's actually good, because I was really curious what your opinion was of this particular actress.
As I know, it says a lot for me, because I usually hate them
that's
bitches,
why.
so.
That's why this is high praise coming. I thought their chemistry was great. The whole toe-to-toe aspect, like you mentioned. I thought her snark and her wit and everything that she brought to the table, and also just kind of using a little bit of her sexuality as a weapon a little bit too, I thought was an interestingly different angle too, because you can tell he's almost very asexual, you know, in the film, and just that strange to that degree, you know.
Sorry, it's someone's bedtime.
Namely Masha Parker's.
Pete, I
Pete's
get it.
bedtime.
No, I see. Should we just take it, or kind of just roll? Okay. Yeah, so high praise obviously there, but I mean, using the whole sexuality aspect of her with him being a little asexual and strange throughout in both films, but maybe more so in this one, especially with some of the cloak and dagger stories he tells her. You know, I was almost, not to make like a superhero comparison, but you know how when the Joker in Dark Knight is giving all these different origin stories over and over and over and just really trying to throw people off, I really got that vibe from Duplas in this, and that sort of mania and that just craziness. I mean, it's funny, but yet in the same right, it's very uncomfortable funny in a lot of scenes in particular. Yeah.
That is true. Now, the effects, there wasn't a lot of music because it's a found footage movie, so it's not scored.
Minimal.
But the effects, there was not a lot to speak of as well. I mean, that's the interesting thing about this movie. It is super interesting, and it holds your attention without needing to have all that extra stuff that normally comes in a horror movie that you're looking out for.
Right.
No frills, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It makes it more real, and especially we live in an era of Craigslist and Facebook and all of those things, and we're all very wary of those people that we're interacting with on the other end, because you don't really know these people. So
a lot worse things than being catfish.
So, like, if you're in that situation, you're not gonna, it's not gonna immediately be axe and blood and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think it also helps build the tension of what's gonna happen next, especially after watching the first movie and you go into this movie and you just don't know what he's gonna do. He's so unpredictable and his mind just works so differently, and he's always 5 steps ahead of the person, but you don't think he is. So I don't know, I love these movies. So.
Yeah. I actually normally hate found footage, so for me to sing the praises of this for both installments, but even to like the second one better, there is rumored to be a third one. They said they plotted it as a trilogy from the get-go.
Yeah.
Who knows? I know with you not being the biggest fan of the ending.
I thought they could have had a much stronger ending to go with and just close it out, but they did not go that way. So I was like, they did something, and I was like, oh. And then they did something else. I was like, yeah, please do that, because that is interesting. And then they did something else. I'm like, no, you reneged on it. No, damn. So that's how I felt about the ending. So I thought it would have been like one of the strongest 2-movie series ever made had they ended it the way they could have. But, now I guess I have to see what they do. But now I'm like, now it feels like it's a continuation of 2 rather than a continuation of the series. You know what I mean? That's just the way I feel.
Well, I mean, they've done such a great job with both movies. I'm gonna, if there's a third, I'm watching it, and I will not be surprised if he figures it out to justify what happened at the end.
I hope so. In Duplas, you trust.
I do. I should get a shirt.
Fuego?
I was actually just thinking about the irony of the fact that my 2 favorite Duplas movies, aside from his work on The League and stuff like that, he puts out little personal, stuff in the newspaper because Safety Not Guaranteed. He did the same thing in that movie, but he wasn't a creep. He falls in love with Aubrey Plaza. So I don't know. Stick to the formula. Who's to say?
He's so great.
But,
I love him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below what you thought of Creep 2. I know this review's late at this time, but, we wanted to talk about it anyway.
We needed Masha's perspective. We
Exactly.
needed a female perspective.
Exactly. So let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this movie, what you thought of this review, whatever you want to let us know. We want to hear it. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Parker.
Gracias a Jaime Fuego.
And remember, stay scared!